May we bow in an attitude of prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for the night of rest. Thank you for this opportunity to be present this morning and this another beautiful day in Washington County. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Lord, may we do so with integrity and passion and forthrightness. Lead, guide, and direct us, I pray in thy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and good morning. Welcome to our Board of County Commissioners meeting of March 28th, 2023, and we will open our open session agenda with approval of minutes from March 21st. Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving into commissioners' reports and comments. Commissioner Wagner, you want to go first today?
Yeah, thank you, John. Good morning. Attended the Premier Spine and Sports Medicine grand reopening in their new location. It's out on Pennsylvania Avenue behind Dunkin' Donuts and Imperial Chinese Restaurant. Nice staff, nice facility. I think if you have any kind of issues with sports medicine or spine, that'd be maybe a good place to check into. Also got to, and want to congratulate the candidates and recruits who graduated from the recruit class number 4 fire last week. They had, I think there was 4 and then 3 communication center specialists for our dispatch center. There was 2 of those there and there was 3 altogether. So it was a nice event out at the new training center. I want to congratulate all of them. And I also wanted to make a note to everybody that comes back and listens. I hear they're broadcasting this on Antietam Cable Wednesday night now?
Yes, rebroadcast, yeah.
Rebroadcasting our meetings Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Antietam Cable. So now maybe some people can tune in and watch it. But anyway, I wanted to bring to your attention that Wednesday the 29th, this Wednesday, is National Vietnam War Veterans Day. And to honor that, obviously we honor all of our veterans, but to honor this day, there'll be a ceremony at 12 noon at 181 Walnut Street at the Vietnam Monument. It'll be if no one's really took time to see that monument, it's beautiful. And Jim Klein and Deb Klein engineered that 4 years ago. Well, it started long before that, but this is the 4th commemoration of that monument. So if anybody's available listening or here that wants to attend that, it's 12 noon tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner. We'll zigzag today. We'll jump across to Commissioner Kiefer.
Thank you. Just one comment, maybe a request that staff could help answer. I know about 35, give or take, boards or commissions are appointed by our board. And if we could have a review, I understand it may take some time and that's fine, but just what authority or what actions, what our interaction should be with those boards. For example, some committees consider that to be an ex officio membership, and where we don't vote as commissioners, but ex officio just by definition means we serve on one board because of our position in another capacity. Some boards allow votes to take place. I understand, like, for example, Randy, are you on the Planning Commission?
Planning Commission.
If an issue comes before us, you don't vote.
I vote,
and that makes sense.
it comes before us.
That makes sense. But sometimes we as a commissioner are just asked not to vote. Sometimes we do vote. And it would be nice if we could have some clarity as to truly what our involvement should be with each board that we have, just to make up. And I think we've all talked about from time to time, many of our boards are like self-perpetuating. They appoint their own board members. And I think that those are our advisory boards. We should seek out the people that we want to advise us on certain issues. So I understand that might be a cumbersome transition if we take more of an active role in appointing board members, But otherwise, we have board members that are appointed that are just going to be like-minded with other board members, and we don't really get a diversity of thought necessarily. I think if we appoint the board, we should have more of a role in deciding who the members are, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I see Commissioner Harvey shaking his head. He agrees.
Yeah, because you're right, the process, I mean, obviously, they're appointed by this board, but you're right, you know, they would come through with recommendations to this board. That's how the process has worked, so, you know, if we're gonna.
Well, what you're saying is the recruitment should be from us.
I think so.
That's what, right.
That would be my opinion, something for us to talk about more another day, but if we could look in, if there's agreement to look into that, maybe change, I don't think it's a written policy, I think it's just practice.
I think it's a practice,
In many ways.
Yeah.
But I think those nominations for the boards that we appoint should come from us, and
Okay.
and if we could better define our role, and maybe each board is different, and I'm sure it is, but if we could have a better understanding of what our role should be on each board, I would like to see that.
Okay, yeah, I think each board is different. Obviously, the planning commission is a separate, and, you know, really separate than some of the other ones, but, sure, we'll pull that together. There's a number of those, so we'll have to look at each one and come up, but we can do that, and we can have further discussion with the board about the process, about how we want to choose and how we want to set up that nominating process for boards and commissions. So
Okay,
we
thank you.
can set that for you know, we can actually do that as an agenda item and be able to talk about it here if we want to do that. Okay.
That's all I have.
Good, thank you. Mr. Klein?
Good morning, everyone. I too attended the graduation ceremony down at the Public Training Safety Center for the firefighter recruits and emergency communications specialists. I want to give a special shout out to a distant cousin of mine, Jason Neal. He was top firefighter at volunteer at Smithsburg, and now he's just graduated from that class. A fine young man, and congratulations to Jason. And I too attended the opening of Premier Spine and Sports Medicine. I've had the opportunity to be treated by Dr. Clark. I think it'd be a fine location for people to go, a fine doctor to visit and interview, recognize for his service. And again, I urge everyone Wednesday at noon to be at the Walnut Street Vietnam Veterans Monument for the celebration and recognizing our veterans. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Klein.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, everyone. You know, as we've been going through this budget process, and we continue to go through it, we're starting to see more advocacy and letters to the editor, to the Herald Mail, posts on Facebook. We're receiving more emails and phone messages and just entertaining more conversations about the budget process. And it's really good to see people advocating for things that they believe in, that they think need to be done in the county. And I encourage the conversation and the input, especially going forward next month when we begin the review of the comprehensive plan for the county. That input will be very important. I've been closely examining this budget process as we go through it. It's my first time through, and I spent the last week, I took Michelle's budgets home with me, and they're all tagged. I've been looking for where I could find savings to reprioritize, maybe make a cut, or shift funds to other areas. And I think, you know, I'm fully aware of the demand signal from a lot of people who want to see more money for some of their programs. You know, I think we all support good schools, and we'd like to support the school budget. They requested nearly $8 million more. The Commission of the Aging has requested a significant increase, HCC and others. Again, we're getting lots of communication advocating for those increases. The reality is that the operating budget has received $18 million more over last year, and there's only so much money to go around, and inflation has really hit us hard. It's hit everyone hard, and inflation is still with us. We have mandates in a number of areas that we don't have any control over at all, whether it's the library, okay, baseline budgeting for public safety, schools, maintenance of effort, and interest rates are going up, as I mentioned. And we have a capital budget, too, that we have to fund so that we have the resources available for when we need to build a new school or when we need to modernize or build a new courthouse or for capital expenditures for major end items of equipment for our county commuter and things like that. As I look at it, there's just not enough money there. The school board has requested nearly $8 million over and above what we have budgeted right now. That's on top of a $22 million increase from the state. HCC has requested a 2% increase and nearly $2 million for some major projects. They're doing remarkable work there. We received a great briefing last week from them. I'm amazed at how efficient they are, what they're doing to be on top of managing their budget, cutting programs, reprioritizing and investing in new opportunities, be it in medical programs or in working very well with our school board to advance opportunities for our high school kids. And we have requirements in public safety with EMS and fire, roads and bridges, lots of complaints about needs in those areas. Would we be in a better place today if we had not had a recent tax cut last year that had some impact on the state disparity grant, which was reduced as a result? I think we would be in a better place. And I know some say the disparity grant is not guaranteed, but neither are any of the other grants, whether they're for the airport or federal and state grants that are used to fund things like the county commuter line. I'm at a loss for where to find additional dollars. Because I spent the last week going over the budget, I'm more perplexed today. I could find only about $1 million to reprioritize. But the needs, as stated by these requests that we're getting, total nearly $20 million. Nearly $20 million, Mr. President. I'd like to find more money to protect and invest in agriculture myself, agricultural preservation, and protect the rural character and history, but we're not doing any of that. We do have two good programs in place, the Rural Legacy Program and Ag Preservation, but I didn't see a funding item in there where the county's actually pouring its own dollars in. And we've got a long list of farms that want to go into preservation. And everywhere I went last year, I heard about the desire to protect the rural character and to protect the #1 economic driver in our county, which is our farmland. So we do have a revenue problem. I don't know if the same people who want more for their programs, whether it's the aging or the schools, are willing to support a small income tax increase or not. I haven't heard anything about that. But the budget realities are the reality. We need to think about this, okay, and where we're going to go. We're not going to be able to answer it today, but we're going to have to think long and hard about the disconnect between revenue and needs, not wants, needs for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Harvey. Likewise, for myself, last week was a typical busy week, a number of things that have already been stated here this morning that we participated in. Several things that come to my mind. I was invited to spend the afternoon at Eastern Elementary School. Our esteemed Governor Wes Moore came to Washington County and spent probably about an hour and a half there at Eastern Elementary. Went to a 4th grade classroom and interacted with the students. It was quite interesting, quite informative. The governor, I think, had a good time here in Washington County, and the interaction with the 4th graders was phenomenal. And the end result was he invited the entire class to be scheduled here in the near future to come to Annapolis to tour the State House and the governor's mansion. So the students in the 4th grade at Eastern Elementary, congratulations to them, and they're excited, and I'm sure they're looking forward to scheduling and making the trip for the day to Annapolis. The other item, Saturday night, our local Maryland Symphony Orchestra, and I'll say that again, Maryland Symphony Orchestra had its annual gala fundraiser at the Maryland Theater, and we are so blessed in this community. And why I stress the Maryland Symphony Orchestra, we're not the largest municipality in the state. We're certainly not the capital, but yet Hagerstown for the last 42 years has been home to the Maryland Symphony Orchestra under the direction of conductor Maestro Elizabeth Schultz. Again, a renowned conductor, and we are just so blessed in this community. And once again, it's good to see the outpouring and support of this community to keep, maintain, and support the Maryland Symphony Orchestra in our community. So one of the arts and cultural gems that we were blessed with in Washington County. Upcoming events, as you've heard, the service of the Vietnam Memorial. Also on March 30th, Washington County Public Schools celebration of service dinner at Tech High. April 4th is the 33rd Annual Child Welfare Workshop at the Maryland Theater. And April the 8th, there is an Eagle Scout ceremony for Juliana Brawner at the Church of God Universal. So if everyone can keep those things on their schedule and agendas, we greatly appreciate it. Anything else, Commissioners?
No, I just wanted to share that I share your concerns, Commissioner Harvey, and I thank you for your commentary. I think it had a lot of good points, a lot of good things, and probably spoken better than I could have, so thank you for that.
Likewise, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, with that, we'll move into staff comments, and first up is Kendall.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kendall Desaunier, Deputy County Attorney, Interim Human Resources Director, presenting a request for support and approval of a staff recommendation to hire Paul Luan for the Network Engineer 3 position in the Information Systems Department. He is presently a county employee as of June 21, 2022. At a grade 9, step 5, and in this new role, he would be at a grade 15, step 1, which requires the board's approval. So I'm requesting a vote in support of that recommendation.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Kendall. Next up, Mark Bradshaw. Good morning, Mark.
Mark Bradshaw, Director of Environmental Management. I'm here today to request the approval of the proposed reclassification and reorganization of duties for the Stormwater and Watershed Services. Over the past years, additional duties and staff have been assigned to the Department of Stormwater and Watershed Services from the implementation of the county stormwater discharge permit. The proposed reclassification and reorganization addresses those changes, so I am requesting that John Swalger be promoted to a grade 15, step 13, and Alex Reed be promoted to a grade 14, step 14. With these promotions, I'm also requesting adjustments to the organizational chart, placing John Swalger in charge of the Stormwater Watershed Services, with the watershed specialists and the stormwater technicians reporting directly to him, and the Clean County technicians reporting directly to the watershed specialist. Any questions?
You looking for a motion?
Yes, he is.
I motion to approve the reorg.
Motions?
Second.
Okay.
Yep.
All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Michelle.
Michelle Preby, Assistant to the County Administrator. I'm here on behalf of the Hagerstown Regional Airport Advisory Commission to ask that you reach a consensus to approve the appointment of Austin Colby to serve a first three-year term from February 1, 2023 through January 31st, 2026, and this is not a paid board.
And
Motion
this
to
is-
approve.
Second.
This is a
Citizen at large.
citizen at large on that advisory board. Motion and second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
I'm also here on behalf of the Washington County Public Golf Course Corporation Board, Black Rock Golf Course, to ask that you reach a consensus to approve the appointment of Gerald Robert Turano to serve a first three-year term from February 1, 2023 through January 31st, 2026, to reappoint Scott Landis for a second three-year term from February 1, 2023 through January 31st, 2026, and finally, to appoint James Connolly to serve a first three-year term from February 1, 2023 through January 31st, 2026. And this is not a paid board.
Discussion?
Motion to support.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, gentlemen. Anything else, Michelle?
That's it.
Okay. County Attorney?
Nothing this morning.
Nothing this morning? County Administrator, John?
Thank you, President Barr. Good morning, Commissioners. Just have one thing this morning. Commissioners received a request from Anthony Williams, the CEO at Beacon House. They are seeking funding from, federal funding to finalize the purchase and renovations of 530 North Locust Street, and they've asked the Commissioners for a letter of support to support their organization in the seeking of these federal funds. So I present that to you today for your consideration and approval to sign a letter of support on behalf of Beacon House.
No money request? or
No money request. This is, they're seeking federal funds to help them.
Support only.
Yes.
Motion to support.
I second.
Motion is second to support. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you. That's all I have today.
Is that all? Okay, thank you. With that, I'll open it up to citizens' participation. Paulie, you want to come on down front, or?
We get a handheld, you can stay there?
Yeah, you can. Okay.
I have to stand if you don't mind. Paulie Ward, Cedar Lawn, Hagerstown. I'm here to thank the commissioners and the residents of Washington County for their participation this past weekend, 4-day event for the 11th Annual Maryland International Film Festival. This year was a very successful film festival in bringing many people to our area. We had 200 films submitted, a little over 200. And of those little over 200, we selected a little over 100 films to participate in 5 venues here in downtown Hagerstown. Those venues were the library, the Maryland Theater, Black Box, University, Maryland University, and the Grand Building. So we were very successful in finding the locations this year, which were within one block walking distance for all of our participants. There were 100 films selected. There were 15 international films that were selected. And we chose, in various categories, 6 different filmmakers to be awarded our Maryland International Film Festival Annual Award. We are grateful to have been nominated 2 years ago in Movie Magazine, a national magazine for the entertainment of arts, as one of the top 50 local festivals in the country. So thank you, commissioners. Thank you for the residents that participated in making this film success this year. The economic dollars for the hotels and the restaurants and the tourist paraphernalia, I think, will be shown in these individual businesses as they go forward. So thank you. Just wanted to give you a report of the success of it. It was really very well handled and done. It's an all-volunteer organization, nonprofit organization, Maryland International Film Festival. And as of this year, of the film festivals in Maryland, we, based on our calculations, present the largest amount of films of any film festival in Maryland.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, anyone else this morning? Hearing none, we'll close citizens' participation and we'll move into FY 2023 rental fee schedules for Parks and Recreation and the Washington County Agricultural Education Center. Good morning, Michelle.
Michelle Gordon, Chief Financial Officer. I present to you today the fiscal year '24 proposed general fund budget that includes recommended rental fee increases for various buildings and facilities at various parks and recreation locations, as well as the Ag Center. Fee increases are recommended based on increased operating costs for facilities, wages, and benefits. The Parks and Recreation Board recommends increases of 18% to 52% for pavilion fees at various parks. And the Ag Center Board recommends increases of 50% for facility fees for profit organizations and reducing the discount rate for nonprofit organizations from 50% to for-profit facility in more than 9 years. I would like to commend both boards for recognizing the need to bring these in line with the cost of providing those of time and considerable amount, maximum increase of 20, with additional over the next 5. Additionally, budget and finance staff organizations at the Ag Center be adjusted only 25% for-profit rate. Lastly, fee schedules are attached with the original both boards, as well as by budget and finance. Budget and finance rates are highlighted in yellow. The rates will be approved with the budget adoption and a separate public hearing is required to open it up to any questions that you have at this time.
I'm seeing here that the entire facility at the Ag Center is going to be $250 a day. Is that correct? I think I'm reading it wrong. If I wanted to rent the Ag Center,
A for-profit organization, $2,500 a day.
2,000.
Five-
Okay, I get it. I see it now.
2,500.
Was
It was increase.
I'll say that I'm happy to have any, tell you the process. Specific questions for them. Are there any questions or offer any?
I'd like for Andrew to come forward and tell us on how, if you'd be. Prices.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, involved with the
Sure,
process
yeah.
there.
More at the operational level. So talking about the mentioned, it's been since those rates were obviously through the pandemic, there weren't activities happening on site anyway to look at rates during that time. The Ag Center facility during fair weather months from about March all the way through November. And so we looked at the rate schedule. We looked at what our expenses are for the facility. We looked at what similar facilities, because it's a little unique. It's not like there's another Ag Center nearby. looked at what the ARC had. We looked at different fairgrounds, Frederick County, Howard County, Allegheny, those kind of places. And so that's kind of how we got to the rate schedule that we did, as far as looking at it as one large increase in 1 year. The general thought among the Ag Center board was to kind of rip the Band-Aid off, so to speak, subsidized and supported by the county. A good value for the renters there. Now, yes, there was discussions about how that would play to certain groups rent the facility, and how to accommodate that. Some of those challenges, I think, are already there now under the current rental schedule, and so that was more or less the final reason for that facility, why that was what was recommended by the Ag Center board to go ahead with those fees as presented.
Andrew, I'm going to stay on this Ag Center for just a minute because that's a big deal for me. So basically, it went up for not for profit not for profit. It went up $500. That's what it'll go up.
Per day, correct.
Yeah, per day. Now, let's say, so just for anybody listening, that's $2,500. And if you're a nonprofit, it's $1,875. So it didn't go up an enormous amount. I guess the question is, for that, just to take it for the typical person who rents it, it's not a nonprofit of $2,500. What's included with that? Who cleans up afterwards? The county?
Yes and no. Aaron, would you like to come down, or Dave? Could we?
I mean, there's more expenses to us, I would suspect.
Expenses involved with the facility, and so when they rent from us, they more or less get the facility, as is. And so, other than the schedule of fees that you see here, that's what we charge them. It's up to the renter to decide if they're going to have add-on fees, those sorts of things. But the cleaning is one that's kind of been both ways.
Yeah, 500. What freebie? Because it's a pretty good thing. Because there, do we have any staff there during?
We do have staff there prior to the event and post event. We do set up and tear down for the events. Trash removal is now on the renter. The renter has to have a dumpster come in for an entire facility rental. We used to handle that. They handle that now. We provide all cleaning products, trash bags for those large events. So there are a lot of costs that.
So I guess what I'm getting at is all these fees on all the fees throughout the recreation, parks and rec, we spend county money too to make this happen.
Correct.
So it's, it's not really.
It's not self-supporting.
We're not making any money at $2,500.
The piece that we looked at in trying to have some basis of, is this what we're trying to achieve, was the Ag Center budget actually has several department codes. So there's a department code for the rental area. There's one for the Ag Extension Office and things like that. So when you just look at the rental area, which more or less captures what the utility expenses and some of the direct costs are for that facility, it was about $50,000, and then we have another $30,000 for part-time expenses. So the thought was that if you're a renter, we at least wanted to cover the costs for us to keep the lights on. It doesn't count for, the administrator's time. It doesn't count for staff's time for maintaining the grounds. It doesn't count for Dave's time, Jamie's time, that sort of thing. It's just the direct costs for keeping the lights on as public service. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Any other?
Just a question. I know we have a new building being planned for the Ag Center. Is that a building that would be available for rental? Is that included in the fee? And if we do the plan where we were to slowly increase the fee over time, at what point will we be adding that to the rental list? And again, if that's a rental building now, does that need to be reflected in the entire facility since there's more buildings in the entire facility?
The rental fees will be updated. We're probably, at least 4 years away or so. And so at that time, we did want to look more at a zoned rental system. Right now, it's more or less the multi-purpose building that we have or the entire facility. And so we would look to have a different schedule and work on that over the next several years.
Okay, understood.
How many for-profit organizations actually rent the facilities, or just one building or the whole place? Because I think they're mostly nonprofits, right?
We do have a lot of nonprofits, but there are for-profit organizations that use it. For instance, the Interstate Festival Group that holds the wine fest and beer fest and those type of activities, those are for-profit organizations.
Okay, is any assessment about organizations like that that could go someplace else as to how competitive we are?
We spoke with those groups, those for-profit groups. They're very comfortable with when we were discussing the 50% increase at the facility. There are some other areas being added into the city here with the new multi-use event center that some of those events might go to that spot. So there is some other areas they can go to.
So on the multi-purpose building, I see on the page there, the second line, nonprofit, non-county organization. A nonprofit county organization, why are we differentiating between one that's, say, from Frederick or Berkeley as opposed to one that exists in our county?
That's how it's been set up. At the golf course, we did get away from the non-county and county fees. That's something that, when we looked at this, the Ag Board wanted to stay with that.
Okay, so if you're from our county, you want to rent the multi-purpose building, when it says per section, $360 a day will be the new rate, which is more than twice as much, right?
The discount rate for nonprofits is decreasing from 50% to 25%, which translates to a 125% increase if you go with the 50% rate increase. If you go with the 25% rate increase, which is the column highlighted in yellow, the increase would be about 87%. That's why
Okay,
their
so-
percentage is higher.
So will they get the whole building or for $360 or just the front part of it, or how does that work?
That there will be per section,
So how many sections are there?
2.
So it would be $720 to rent that building.
At the 50% rate, that's correct.
Right.
If it was the 25% rate, it would be $600.
And if it's a for-profit,
At the 50% rate, that's correct.
Right.
If it was the 25% rate, it would be $600.
and if it's a for-profit, non-county organization, it would be $1,200 for one day.
Versus about 1,500.
Right, but it's an awful lot of money for one day for one building. I have some concerns about pricing some of our people out of it, but
I really have to disagree on that one. In my opinion, I think it's a good deal the whole way around, and I think it's going to be book solid forever because it's the only facility around, other than maybe a big winery that could hold that many people. I think we're not making any money. If we were making a ton of money, but the way it sounds, we're probably breaking even at best. So, I would support it, but.
I'll defer to your judgment on that, Randy.
Thank you.
I mean, the other anecdotal note is that the cost for providing a lot of these services is just increasing at a faster pace than a lot of the rental rates. And so we haven't talked about recreation, in here, but that's kind of the theme across the board. A lot of these are staffed, by lower wage workers, so those costs are higher, utility costs are higher. And so, yes, we want to provide very affordable, good facilities for the county to use. And so what we're proposing, take it or leave it, it doesn't matter to us, but we tried to look at what the actual cost is to, again, keep the lights on as a benchmark. And really beyond that, it's a question of how much does the county want to support or subsidize, if you want to use that word, parks and recreation facilities.
Yeah, may I interrupt? I'm on that board, and I've listened to the heartfelt, serious conversations for meeting after meeting. These guys, then they're 9 years have had an increase. Those folks on that board love that facility, and they want to see to stay a superior facility to rent and represent our county. Many of those board members donate their time, labor, materials to many upgrades. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We have a very active board.
Very active participatory board, and I think Aaron could inform us how far out in the future that we're advanced. So listening to the seriousness and that board to make these discussions heartfelt, I would support what the Ag Board's recommending.
Well, I'm convinced. Yeah, I respect your judgment, both you and Randy's on this, so appreciate that. And